All right, it's 6:30. I would like to call this meeting to order. This is the City of Fairway, Kansas. Our city council meeting for Monday, July 14th, 2025, and it is 6:30 p.m. Nathan, do you have any announcements? Nope, I do not either. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a proclamation this evening that I would like to read into the record. Designation of July as Park and Recreation Month. Whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the city of Fairway, and whereas our parks and recreation programs are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of our citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of a community and region. And whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas parks and recreation areas are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. And whereas parks and natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of the air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the City of Fairway recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreational resources. Now therefore be it resolved by Mayor Melanie Hepperly that July is recognized as Park and Recreation Month in the City of Fairway, dated this 14th day of July 2025. It's your month, Bryce. Enjoy it. Okay, monthly reports of the standing committees. In your packet was the Consolidated Fire District Number 2 report. We will let the report stand as submitted. Administration and Finance, Nathan.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just mention that Chief Chick was hoping to get here tonight, but he might be running a little bit late at Mission Hills, so if he comes in.
Okay, we'll pick it up then.
For the Administration and Finance report, I will let the packets or the report stand as submitted in the packet. I'll just call your attention to the 3 contracts that I signed in the month of June. And then also just, you can see the brief recap there of the topics for administration that were discussed at the Administration and Finance Committee. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Nathan? Okay, Finance?
All right, sales tax came in strong again for the month of June, which would have been collected in April. We did spend a significant amount of time discussing the 2026 general fund budget at the Administration and Finance Committee meeting. Assuming we have anyone show up for the budget public forum later this evening, we'll get to rehash that again. If not, we'll move on. But happy to answer any questions about the finances.
Anyone have any? All right, thank you, Nathan. Police, Chief?
Thanks. We had a number of DUI arrests last month. We took into custody a party that fled in a stolen vehicle. They were also in possession of a felony controlled substance. We had more weapons violations, stolen firearm that was recovered, person was taken into custody in reference to that case. Another thing I'd like to mention is an officer in Shawnee was fired upon by an individual last month. Our officers went over there and assisted, and in fact, during that perimeter, that individual was located, I believe, by a drone, and our officer took that individual into custody with another Shawnee officer. So that was a really great job. That was Sergeant Skimper that did that. I'm happy to answer any questions and let my report stand.
Any questions for the chief? All right, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Lee, go ahead.
It was not a question, but I just wanted to say thank you to Lieutenant Bayless for being the Grand Marshal of our annual Ward 1 4th of July Parade. She did a great job, and it was very well attended. All manner of bicycles, tricycles, scooters, everything you could imagine. It's a real tradition in our neighborhood, and everybody seemed to have a really good time, and it couldn't happen without the support of the police department, so thank you.
Thank you. Happy to do it.
Hi, David. David?
He's probably on mute, but he should be, he's there.
Okay, David has joined us. He's on the road somewhere. Okay. I was not able to attend this year. I was invited to go to Ward 3.
Oh, nice.
So I attended Ward 3's parade.
I'm sure it was nice.
I'm sure it was just as hot as Ward 1's was.
That's why those bomb pops at the end are welcome.
I know. Hi, David. I guess he can hear me. Okay, Public Works, Bill?
Thank you, Mayor. I will also let my report stand as submitted. Would like to highlight that our capital improvement program is in full swing. They're working on Norwood Road right now. I'd also like to point out we finally filled our vacancy. Derek Mishler started with us last Monday, and he's fitting in very well. I have high hopes for this candidate. He's fitting in with the family pretty well. The only other thing I'd like to point out is this Wednesday, we get the pleasure of getting audited by KDHE for our NPDES program. Yet another fun, unfunded federal mandate that we get to spend our time and efforts with going over our program line by line. The one helpful thing with this audit is due to our contract with Renierson, they will be there helping us along the way, and their record keeping has already bore fruit. They have all the stuff ready to go, so I don't think this will be too painful at all. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Bill? Lee?
Oh, sorry, you want to go?
So I just wanted to thank the entire team that's doing the work on the tunnel, the pedestrian tunnel.
That's what I was gonna say.
I know there's a lot more to do. It's not finished, but the work that's been done is fantastic. Gotten a lot of positive feedback from residents. So thank you, and it'll be really exciting to see what the thing looks like when it's finished. So keep up the great work.
Most of that work is being done by Abby. She's the one handling that. As much as I'd love to take credit for it, she's actually taking the lead on that project.
Thank you, Abby.
Bill, Kelly Busick, Ward 1. I also wanted to reiterate what Lee just said. I've noticed how it looks so much better, the railing anyway. And so I wanted to thank you guys and Abby and everyone who's working on this project, because it is really important to the city and obviously the citizens who live in Ward 1 who use it prolifically. So again, thank you so much.
The one thing I would point out about that is Abby asked them to put the railing back like it was, and if you would not know due to the color, you could not tell that that is not the original railing that was installed 50 years ago. They done a fantastic job of matching it.
Oh, I wondered about that. So that was the color it used to be?
No, but that's the style that they replaced it rod for rod and lateral for lateral like the old one. It is shaped like it is. It'll be painted white like the old one.
Oh,
But
okay.
it is the exact same style that it was before.
Oh, interesting.
I
And
think it'll be black. The railings
it
are
will
on.
be
Okay.
black,
Yeah.
but it's just.
Black, my apologies, yes, black.
Yeah, black, but it's the style. Oh, nice. And I've had numerous questions, and you two probably have too, as to if it's open now. Well, yeah,
Ish.
yeah, you can, it's not finished, but they've taken the barriers down.
You're gonna get hurt if you walk through here stuff is done for the most part.
Yeah,
They will close the tunnel again Wednesday or Thursday of this week as they start the sandblasting inside. So this next phase will probably keep the tunnel closed pretty close to August 1st, which is the contractor's deadline
okay,
to complete the project. But it will close again and remain closed until it's done.
okay.
One other thing, Mayor, I would like to point out is, as we spoke about several months ago in the Admin and Finance Committee meeting, and as Amino Brothers is working along Mission Road, they are tentatively set to close 53rd Street there between Mission Road and Chadwick to install that island starting next Monday. I have a constant contact ready to go out. I'm just waiting for the affirmation of the date so that we can send that out.
Okay, all right, thank you for letting me know. How long will it be closed?
7 to 10 days, depending on weather.
Okay. Oh, well, good, storms are coming on Thursday. Yes, we do need it. Hey, David? Yes? You've got a lot of background noise? Yeah. And it's difficult for me. Yeah, can you mute it? It's difficult for me to hear your conversations and the council at the same time.
Sorry, I can't pull it, maybe that Nathan recalling it because I can't find it on the phone, it's just on here, so I can go hide in the corner.
Can you turn off your volume?
Whose phone am I supposed, do I mute yours? Oh. Well, go crawl in a corner, David.
Just did.
Okay, all right, you're in your corner? Okay, great. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. He volunteered. And off he went. Okay, where was I? All right, Parks and Rec, Bryce.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll let my report stand as submitted as well. I would say that the fireworks display didn't disappoint again. It was a great time, and the weather was nice and hot, just the way 4th of July, 3rd of July should be. And along those same lines, the pool has now rebounded from our winter-like opening to sun-like blazing heat, so that's helped with attendance and front gate and concessions as well. So we're going strong. If you see Renee and Jackson, they're probably they're a little glassy-eyed right now. They're about in the middle of it, so they're working a lot. But the 18th, this Friday, is Park and Rec Professionals Day. So if you happen to be at the pool or you see Jennifer or Jackson or Renee, maybe give them a high five for being a great professional in Parks and Recreation with the City of Fairway. And I'll have any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions for Bryce? Yeah, Dan?
This is going to be a question for multiple people. I see your comments on Kathy Line Flora Park signs specifically as it relates to the scooters. It's been a few months, and I asked if we could have a scooter, electric bike, dirt bike conversation. It's now gotten worse over the summer, and it seems like on Nextdoor, this is not a Fairway issue. Do you think we could have that conversation sometime in the near future?
Yeah, we'll have it at the Administration and Finance Committee meeting in August. We'll also have a potential draft ordinance for review, implementing some restrictions that we're seeing in other cities as well.
I have never been to a county commissioners meeting, but I think I'm about to go, and this really should be a county-wide issue.
Well, jurisdictionally, it falls to the local police departments to enforce.
Okay,
So
yeah.
we would want to start there.
Okay.
Chief, do you want to add anything?
Thank you.
We'll save you a trip.
I just wanted to mention that the next focus on Fairway, my block just says coming soon, e-bike ordinance. That's all that's going to say, because I want to get that out in advance and get people thinking about it, because we are going to hopefully have an ordinance soon. There have been recent accidents in Johnson County involving e-bikes. One, I think, was yesterday evening in Olathe with an adult. So we are moving quickly on it. There was a news story this morning as well involving Prairie Village. So we're moving on it. We're just gathering all the information that we can, and we're getting ready to roll that out, and you guys will be looking at it soon.
Thank you.
Jim, and if you'd be on the lookout for that for your review and speed it through,
Sounds good. Yes, Mayor.
if we could get that, sooner that we can get that done, the better. Yeah, because I witnessed in Prairie Village a kid going through a red light on a e-bike, and I was the car that fortunately stopped for him. So, yeah. I agree, Dan, it's getting worse. Okay, anyone else, questions? Yeah, Whitney?
Whitney, Ward 4, just want to pass my thanks on to pool staff. We've been there all summer and did our lessons, and the lifeguards are fantastic. And Renee and Jackson, you can tell they're just hustling around the pool deck out in the heat. And so thank you, Bryce, for all you all are doing. Yeah.
Okay. All right, monthly reports of the special committees. Tree board, Bill?
No report.
Oh, okay. Public comment for consent agenda items only. Is there anyone online for public comment? There is no one in the audience. Nope. Okay. I will close public comment then for the consent agenda items. These items are determined to be routine enough to be acted on in a single motion. However, this does not preclude discussion. If a council member requests, an item may be removed from the consent agenda for further consideration in a separate motion. Item A, approve minutes of the previous regular city council meeting. Item B, approve claims and appropriations. Ordinance number 1829, June 2025. C, approve letter of understanding with Envision Lawn and Tree for fall leaf collection. Is there any council person who wishes to have discussion, a question, or to remove one of these from the consent agenda? Yes.
Kelly Busick, Ward 1. I just want to add that I think that the lawn and tree for fall, the leaf collection last year was really very successful. How they're doing it now, how we can choose what dates we want, and you have so many dates to choose from. So I'm really glad that we're redoing it for this year. Thank you.
That does not apply to Ward 1.
Right. That was gonna be my question.
Yeah, that does not apply to Ward 1.
It did, well,
No.
actually it did.
No.
I called and I had them pick up.
Well,
They didn't pick yours up?
well, Benjamin Leaf and Lawn did.
Oh, I'm sorry, but we're using the same type of program in Ward 1.
Yes,
Yes.
but
Oh, I'm
but
sorry,
that's not
Envision, I
what
know,
this
but-
is.
Exactly. But
Oh,
still,
okay.
It's the same program, and I think it's a great idea that we're using that
Okay,
program. We're
all right.
basing this one on that one. Sorry.
Okay.
I wasn't
I'm,
specific.
yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
Sorry.
Because we do not approve Ward 1s. That's handled by the HOA.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's still, that you're mimicking Ward 1 is awesome because it really works well.
Actually, it's the other way around. Benjamin, I think, mimicked Envision,
Wow.
yeah. But
Good
it's
luck with
good.
Envision. That's
It's
right.
good.
We like it. We
Yes,
like it.
it's good. Okay, is there a motion?
Mayor, I move that we approve items A, B, and C on the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as written, A, B, and C. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. I didn't hear Joe, did you? Lee, did you? Okay. New business. Item A, consider ordinance 1830, an ordinance approving a special use permit extension for a leasing trailer at 4100 Shawnee Mission Parkway. Nathan?
Yeah, your packet has a whole lot of paperwork on this for about a 2-month extension is all they're seeking at this time. So same trailer, same location, same everything. They just need it through, they're hoping to have it through August.
Okay, any questions for Nathan? Lee?
So my question, Nathan, is I noticed, I was looking for it, I can't find it, but it looked like there were several recommendations, staff recommendations that would be included. My question is, will they be included in our approval of this?
Yep.
Okay, great, thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, is there a motion?
Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance 1830, an ordinance approving a special use permit extension for a leasing trailer at 4100 Shawnee Mission Parkway.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance number 1830. All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. New business item B, consider First Amendment to Johnson County Mental Health Co-Responder Cooperative Memorandum of Understanding. Chief?
Thank you. The co-responder is currently funded not only by local municipalities, but also by a federal grant. The federal grant requires a MOU, or a Memorandum of Understanding, and it's to be reviewed periodically. The last time it was reviewed was in March of '23. There have been some amendments made to that, some of which are the following. Well, first of all, to mention, all the northeast cities in Johnson County follow the MOU and are asked to sign this as well. This new amendment removes a 5% cap on increases for reimbursement because Johnson County Mental Health cannot predict compensation and benefit increases to employees awarded by the county. They also, Johnson County Mental Health, want to be able to provide a forecast for budgeting for the cities that will be presented to us by March 31st of each year for budgeting. And they wanted to also put in there that they do understand the need for communication regarding budgeting impact and how imperative it is to financial planning. And we've discussed a lot of that in the Finance Committee meeting prior to this meeting. The amendment has also been reviewed by our city attorney, and the staff recommendation is that council approve authorizing the amendment to the Northeast Co-Responder Program.
Okay. Chief, has there been any further discussion about the payment for those services based on calls instead of population for the cities?
There hasn't been yet, but that is in motion.
Okay, it's on your to-do list.
Yes, both
Yeah.
And
Nathan and mine.
We'll be discussing it amongst the city administrators on Thursday.
Okay, great. All right, are there any questions for the chief about this? Lee?
So Chief, I'm just curious, removing the 5% cap on increases, what is the potential result of that? Does that mean we could be on the hook for a much higher increase and nothing we can do about it?
In my opinion, yes, but they're trying to, they're saying they can't predict what those would be. So the answer to that is yes.
I think it really is tied to salaries. they've had to do some market adjustments, just like we all have. And so if they end up having to go over 5% on a salary, if they have someone leave and they bring someone new in and they have to bring them in at a higher salary, then they don't want to have to eat that cost. They want the cities to spread it out. So it's going to, any increase over 5%, I would say would almost directly be tied to salary.
So it'd likely to be in the neighborhood anyway. It's not going to
Yeah,
be a 15%
we're not talking about a
increase.
20% increase or anything like that.
Great.
And are their salaries decided by the county?
The county.
Okay.
And, I mean, even if it was 15%, it'd be 15% of our 11% or whatever that
Right,
number is,
right.
correct?
Any other discussion? Oh,
Uh,
Jerry?
Jerry Williams, Ward 2. This is only for Northeast Johnson County cities. Is there a similar agreement for the rest of the cities in Johnson County?
This MOU, I'm sure there are. I'm not familiar with what those are, but the MOU here is because of the federal grant money that the Northeast Johnson County cities get. So that's what kind of umbrellas this amendment and the MOU here. It's specific to Northeast Johnson County. Those
Yeah.
funds are government funds allocated to Northeast Johnson County cies.
Okay. I was just wondering if we had the same services to the other cities, so we probably do.
We do. We do. Some of the larger cities have their own co-responders.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's all Johnson County mental health professionals, just like ours,
Okay,
under
thank
the
you.
same roof that they're in.
Anyone else? Joe or David? No? Okay. Is there a motion concerning this amendment to the MOU?
Mayor, I move we approve the First Amendment to the Johnson County Mental Health Co-Responder Cooperative Memorandum of Understanding.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this amendment to the MOU for the Johnson County Mental Health Co-Responder Cooperative Agreement. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Council, if you would allow me this out of order, Robert's Rules of Order. Chief, would you like to give your report so you can go home?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First of all, I apologize. I was held up at my first city council meeting, and
Well, shame on Mission Hills.
I was at Mission Hills.
That's quite all right.
And so thank you for taking me out of order. I very much appreciate it. I only have a couple of things I'd like to cover with you tonight. As I see on your agenda, you're talking about the same things we are, revenue neutral rate and budgets and getting toward those things. So that's one of the things. But I'd like to begin real quick with the Q2 fire activity report that came out last week. Just a quick summary, couple of things that I've noticed. We have a little bit of an increase in calls, nothing statistically significant. I'm not really worried about that. I think that's just normal fluctuation is what we're seeing. Interestingly enough, we've seen a little bit of a reduction in EMS calls, very small, but that's the first time we've seen that in some time in Fairway, so that's a positive. And then our other calls, which is calls for service, lift assist, those kind of things are up a little bit more. So it's balancing out everywhere. What we're seeing here is that we're running on about the same amount of calls that we normally do, but the call mix has changed a little bit this year, and so we'll keep an eye on that. Again, our times, most of our times end up looking like they're on track. Our turnout time was a little bit increased this last quarter. We've had a couple of issues with the construction at Station 2 and access and things like that, so it kind of put us behind the 8 ball, but we feel like we've gotten those resolved, and so that'll level out for us. Any questions related to that fire activity report, I'd be happy to address.
Dan?
Not related to the report, but.
Yes, sir.
You've probably told us in the past, and I've just forgotten. So the new construction at 63rd.
Great questions.
What would that be? The area to the west that was just a grassy open field.
Just to the east of the building.
East, yes.
Yes, sir.
Are you putting some sort of structure there or a parking
Yes.
lot or? Okay.
Yeah, so, and thank you for asking the question. In simple terms, when that building was built in 1998, it was already too small. They didn't have enough bunks for the number of people we were there, and so quickly after they opened the building, they started moving people into different areas to make up room. I don't know what happened in the design in 1998, but it didn't work very well. So, for instance, one of the things that was done to make room for the bunk space that we needed was they moved our lieutenant and captain in that station into a storage closet. And so for 25 years, they've been working in a storage closet. And so what we did when we started planning for this, we knew that there were some inherent problems with that station. We knew that we needed to address them for a number of reasons. Part of those, the ability of crews to bunk in the areas that access the bay quickly, those kind of things. And so what we did is we went into this thinking, okay, we want to do a little bit of a remodel. We've got some plumbing and issues and some other things. But as we went into that, our board chair joined us as part of our work group that was assessing what we could do in the building. And we realized that for the number of people that we don't even have the right locker space and restrooms and all that stuff. So in that process, our board chair agreed, hey, while we're doing this, let's not spend good, fresh money over bad decisions. Let's figure out what the programming is we need for this building. And so we went through that process with the architect and builder that we had selected in a design build process. And so out on the east side of the building, there will be a new kitchen, and then there'll be a workout area on the front side of that. And then what replaces those areas, the workout area has been reworked, and our training area is getting bigger, which is good. We couldn't even get all of our on-duty folks in there to do a class. It was limiting. And then the old kitchen is getting utilized and reprogrammed into areas that allow for an office for our officers, and an office for the firefighters who are going to school and working on degrees right now to have a quiet room, do their studies and things like that when they're on duty, and then a laundry room. One of the other problems is we share our laundry equipment in that station with MedAct, and so if they're washing stuff from a nasty EMS call, we're washing our clothes in the same stuff, and so we're splitting the laundry so that we can have clean laundry for uniforms and we can have laundry for on-scene type items out in the bay. And so that's just a quick list of the things, but we've reprogrammed the building. We're relaying a lot of the space inside. And incidentally, while we were working on this, one of the things we had to do was an assessment of our plumbing, electrical, those kind of things are, and what needed to be dealt with and what was just fine. Well, we discovered that when they built the building, it was built with cast iron pipe for sewage, and the cast iron sewage pipe under the building has already failed. And so we're literally tearing all the sewage pipe out of the building and going to replace it. We're not going back with cast iron. We're going back with Schedule 40, which has a much longer life and is a lot more reliable. But just it turned into, as we opened the project, realizing that we were fixing all of the things that were really wrong when the building was built. And so thank you for the question. But yes, there is some space being added on there, and then we're reutilizing some space in the building. So the one thing I'd like to add is we're not really doing anything with the bays where the fire truck or the squad or the ambulance or anything like that goes. Some of that we're going to do later because we could save some money on that. We're going to do some new locker arrangements and some things like that. But the actual reprogramming of space and remodeling of the building is all being done under the current construction contract.
And one more just curiosity question.
No, I'm happy to answer it.
So
Thank you for
on the
asking.
west side, I'm on the west side now.
Yep.
Where it says like administrative offices.
Right.
Do you use that space?
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah, we're actually busting at the seams over there too. So I literally have, I have one of my chiefs working in the conference room, and we kick him out when we have meetings. And so we're adding on a new conference room, and then we're adding on one office on that side. A lot cheaper to do it while we had the people there. And so we're addressing some of those concerns. And what we're going to end up with, our old conference room is going to be a shared workspace, which will help us to grow, into the future as we have inspectors coming in and working on the computer after they do building inspections, and as we have training officers coming in after they're out in the field working with the crews, they can complete their paperwork there, and we don't have to farm them out to wherever there's an available computer just to get that done. So, yeah, no, happy to address that. Thank you for asking. I appreciate it. So,
Anyone
and then
else?
I have a couple of more things that I'd
go
like
right
to
ahead.
address. So, first of all, I meet with the fire board tomorrow night, And the fire board will go through what our budget recommendations are, but I would like to give you a brief, very, very brief overview of that. So one of the things that I've said several times is I'm not really a believer in the concept of revenue neutral rate, because what it tries to do is hold us to a number year over year. And I don't know about you, but I can't remember the last time my bills were less this year than they were last year. But in addition to that, we're running into things like fire truck costs are up 76% in the last 6 or 7 years. Bunker gear costs are up 48% in the last 6 or 7 years. So like the institutional product that we use in the work of taking care of the public far exceeds the consumer price index or any other inflation kind of a model that you could put on it. And so in saying that, we'll deal with the budget very reasonably. We always do. I'm super proud of the way that we handle budgeting year over year. One of the things that we've been very careful of is, even though those huge costs that I just shared with you loom, we try to plan for that long out. And so we've got a 12-year capital replacement plan for all of our major capital expenses. We look at how we can manage that and fluctuate things to make sure that we keep a reasonable amount of capital in our capital reserve fund. But I also realize that part of this is trying to manage the dollars that we spend so it's affordable for our homeowners and our taxpayers. And so over the last couple of years, one of the models that I've really tried to use is, we've had this huge inflation that we've dealt with in fire and EMS equipment, but I've always felt like if I could stay within the increase of our assessed valuation and try not to raise the mill levy or affect that on a regular basis, then that's what's best for the taxpayers. And so this year, the whole district, the whole fire district, which is all 8 of our cities, has seen about 6.51% increase in assessed valuation, which translates through the mill levy down to budget dollars revenue. So when we went through our budget this year, we've had a couple of initiatives that we've been talking to our board about. We put a 4% placeholder in for raises for our employees. That gets decided later in the year when the fire departments in the area do a collective pay study. And so we look at our fire pay against all the other major employers in the area and make sure that we're remaining competitive. What that does, we usually try and stay number 2 or 3 on that list because we're a destination department. And so we're also through that fire pay study not blowing the top out of our salary ranges. And so we're very judicious with that. So our budget for next year includes a 4% placeholder for raises for everybody at the fire district as a whole. How that gets utilized gets decided by the board in November or December once the pay study's done. Other things, we've become a much younger department, and so we have a lot of people in college right now finishing degrees for promotion requirements, which is great because we need succession planning to play out. And so we're having to raise our education budget a little bit because we've got a lot of people taking advantage of it. And personally, I think that's great because people are getting their paramedic degrees, people are getting their fire science degrees, people are getting their public management degrees. Those are things that are happening that have caused us to raise that budget a little bit, and we haven't touched it for years. And so very reasonable moves in that area. So in total, I told you that the county estimated that our increase would be 6.51% this year. Our operational budget has stayed to 5.9% increase. And so we've worked really hard to hold that line and to make that happen. Now, what I have a concern for and what the board has a concern for is a concept that's happening at the state level, and that's the whole concept of capping our assessed values or capping our revenues, which I'm sure Nathan's very, very aware of. It's not a comfortable discussion, is it, Nathan? So we have, over the last couple of years, one of the things I've talked to your council and every council in the district and my board about is that we have artificially lowered the mill levy for about 5-6 years now, and we've spent down excess reserves, and now we've got our reserves exactly where they should be. We have a AAA bond rating. The only reason we can't have a AAA plus bond rating is that for some reason, when it relates to fire districts, when they evaluate that, you'd have to have a ridiculous amount of reserves in order to get a AAA plus. But for us, managing reserves to what an effective level for the residents is, what the residents need is important. And so over the last couple of years, we had extra money, and I've talked on, some of you have heard this and some of you haven't, so I do just a brief amount of review, and that is, we had money set aside for the dark store theory liabilities and, some of those things. And those of you remember there's big battles over, Lowe's and Walmart and those kind of things. And what happens is if they had won those lawsuits with the county, then our revenues get shorted. And so we had to have some money in reserve to make sure that we could make that work if we got shorted on revenues. That didn't come to pass, so we lowered the mill levy and we paid that nearly $750,000 back to the taxpayers through a lowered mill levy. So one of the things that I have to evaluate with the board tomorrow night is what we're going to do with our mill levy. And to be honest, as you all know, that's just really a function of how many dollars you need for the business of the fire district to take place. And so I would say that we will see a modest increase in mill levy just because we've artificially lowered it with reserve spending for the last couple of years, and now we're going to stop that deficit spending. What I'm proud of is that when you talk about deficit spending, people usually think about our federal government and the fact that we spend money and we borrow money to make it happen. We're not doing that. We had money and we were giving it back to the taxpayers, which is why that mill levy was artificially lowered a little bit. So not going to be a huge adjustment, but I think this is the year our reserves are at the recommended levels that have been set by the county. Our general fund reserve is in that 25 to 30% range, which is exactly where we need to be. Our equipment reserves are where they need to be. In fact, the truth of the matter is that we're a little short on equipment reserves, but one of the things that I do is manage our budget to try and come in under budget every year. I like a lot of public organizations out there in the world, they feel like if they don't spend every dime, they might not get it next year. Well, that's not true with us. If we don't spend the money and there's money left over, then it goes to reserve and we have the opportunity to either make up a reserve shortage or pay that back to the taxpayer by spending the reserve down. And so that's really the approach we've taken over the last couple of years. And so what I would tell you is that I expect that we're going to vote to exceed the revenue neutral rate, and I expect that we may see a mill levy adjustment because of stopping the deficit spending from reserves, but it's not going to be a drastic move. And so until I meet with the board, I won't be able to give you a final answer on what they decide, but I wanted to be up front and share with you that those are some discussions we're having.
Great. Very good explanation.
Happy to do it. I do have two more things I'd like to mention, and then I'll be done. I apologize.
That's
I feel
okay.
like I'm taking a lot of your time tonight.
That's all right.
I met with the chair of the county commission recently and shared some concerns with him. First concern is that we have a disconnect right now, which is not the fault of our partners in PD and fire. We have a disconnect because all of the PD dispatch and agencies in this county are on what's called Hexagon CAD. Hexagon CAD is a current technology. It's universal throughout the county. All of the police departments are using it. And the fire and EMS dispatch does not have Hexagon CAD. We're operating on a 25-year-old CAD system that is really antiquated. And because of that, our hardware costs are higher. And so like for our mobile data terminals that are in the fire trucks, we have to spend more money because of the way the CAD is set up. You can't operate on more cost-effective equipment, which has been developed in the last 25 years because we're dealing with old technology. So we've been asking the county for a CAD upgrade for a couple of years. Paul Davis, who's the Director of Emergency Services and manages MedAct and the ECC and Emergency Management, has asked for it several times. He's been, it always seems to fall off the funding list. And so I asked the fire chiefs got together this summer and we wrote a letter to the county manager's office and asked for them to readdress this funding, reprioritize it, because what happens today is that the dispatchers at, for instance, if you call in Fairway, you're going to get most likely the Johnson County Sheriff's Office as your dispatch answering point, your service answering point. What happens is they're going to take a name and an address and a phone number and find out what kind of calls going on and all that stuff. Because our CADs don't talk to each other, they're going to get that information and they're going to send your police officers and then they're going to transfer the call to the ECC, and that whole process has to start over at the Emergency Communications Center for Fire. And so whatever that 35, 38, or 42 seconds, whatever it took to get that information, has now doubled because we don't have access, or we're not linked up on the Hexagon CAD. If we had that, that information would directly flow over, and they'd go right into, is the person breathing? Do they have a pulse? Those kind of things. And we could cut 30, 40 seconds off of life-threatening calls. And so we've asked for that to be reprioritized. It fell on deaf ears. And so I mentioned it to the county commissioner and gave him a copy of the letter that we issued to the county manager. And I told him this is critical. This is very, very critical. And we just had a call in Mission Hills about the 1st of July. We had a cardiac arrest at one of the country clubs. And that country club's under construction right now, and so they've locked the front gate. But they didn't notify us that the front gate was locked. And so we go to this cardiac arrest and come through the normal route, and we're locked out of the gate. And so PD knew, but couldn't get the information to us fast enough because our CADs don't talk to each other. They had to call their dispatcher had to pick up the phone, they had to call our dispatcher had to understand what was saying and what was being said and then tell our people, and we were already there by that time. And so critical issue that I've asked the county to address, and so that's the first thing that I asked for Chairman Kelly to consider for us. And then the second thing is related to the renewal of the public safety sales tax that is up for vote in November. And I will be honest, I've stirred up a little bit of a hornet's nest at the county over this because I don't know if you guys know this, but 12 of the 20 cities in Johnson County are served by fire districts, not municipal fire departments. But we were left out of the funding mechanism entirely. We do not get a dime or a penny of public safety sales tax from the county or anybody. And so when we're talking about renewing something that's a $500 million+ tax that's intended for public safety, we have been asking, there's 3 public safety sales taxes and the third is sunsetting. We've been asking since one as fire and EMS that this gets addressed, and it keeps getting pushed, and like this is a great instance, right? Like we're in a renewal cycle, it needs to get renewed or that money's not gonna be able to come in, and so it got pushed through as it's written, but there's still no funding mechanism for us. So I stood up because I think it's what's right. I think that the voters approved that money for public safety, which is fire, police, courts, our medical examiner's office, those kind of things. And so I had a long discussion with the commissioner, with Chairman Kelly about what we could do. Rather than bringing him a problem, I wanted to bring him some options. So I did a tremendous amount of research because I'm very well vetted on, and I've researched this a lot. And so I gave him 3 possible solutions. I'm not a lawyer, but they seem like palatable solutions. And so I've delivered a document to him that recommends that we look at what we can do to make that equitable. Because right now, 12 of the 20 cities in Johnson County are not getting a fire benefit out of the public safety sales tax. And so I just wanted to let you all know, most people, and Mayor, I see like the shock on your face. And I know what's funny is the county gets 64% of that and the cities get 36%. And so it's a problem, and some of my board was as alarmed as you are, or shocked as you are. The other fire boards are just as shocked, and I think part of that's because board members' elections replace people over time, but we've had to deal with this our whole career. And so those are the 2 things I wanted to make you aware of that I'm pushing forward at county level. And if any of your elected officials happens to ask you, Becky Fast or anybody like that, please support us in those discussions, because I think it's critical to Northeast Johnson County.
Oh, they'll be hearing from me. I guarantee.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for me? I'm happy to answer, and thank you, Councilman, for your questions about the station.
Okay, any other questions? Great summary. Thank you.
I appreciate all your time,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry for being a little long-winded tonight.
That's okay. You're very welcome. Have a nice evening. Oh my, Nathan. Okay. I know what I'm doing tomorrow. Okay, we'll move on to new business item C, public forum on our 2026 draft budget. I'll bet that's you, Nathan.
It is, and we do have someone online, so I will go ahead and go through the PowerPoint here.
Okay, all right.
So give me just a second to pull this Okay. So I just have a brief presentation here for the 2026 budget. All of this information you've reviewed either at the May or June Administration and Finance Committee, but if there's any questions you have, please do feel free to just interrupt. And for those online, if you have any questions at the end, you can use the raise hand feature as well. So we will go ahead and just jump into it here. Just have a few highlights for the 2026 draft budget. This is general fund specifically. The mill levy will remain the same at roughly between 19.928 and 19.930, which is, I think, is where we ended for 2025. The general fund budget, excluding reserves, increases 0.31% from the 2025 budget to just over $7.1 million, and again, that excludes reserves. The total unrestricted reserve will be just over 1.5 million and is split between the general fund reserve and the equipment reserve. That also includes our CDs that we have with First National Bank. Health insurance runs July through June, and for the first time in 2 years, the city's premiums increased by 3%, and we always anticipate up to a 6% increase for the following year. Budgeted transfers from the general fund include $150,000 to the equipment reserve fund. $140,000 of that is actually what we receive in that public safety sales tax that the chief was just talking about. We're transferring that over to the equipment, we're not transferring it to the equipment reserve. We're transferring it to the future public safety facility fund, which was formerly known as the ARPA money. However, that is unrestricted ARPA money. So that fund has been renamed for the 2026 budget to the Public Safety Facility Fund, and so that $140,000 will go to the to the Public Safety Facility Fund, and then $10,000 will go into the equipment reserve for future equipment purchase. We will have about a $445,000 transfer to the CIP fund. That number is still going up and down a little bit as I redefine the budget, which it changes daily as I look at the numbers and tweak a few things, but generally speaking, it'll be about $445,000 in the CIP, and then we'll have $72,000 to the Shawnee Indian Mission Fund to round out our transfers. For the police department, the funds for the budget include new tasers, along with the third of 3 annual payments for the new body cameras. They're not new anymore, they're 2 years old. Body cameras and in-car videos. Public Works includes funding to replace the street signs citywide throughout all of Fairway with new reflective signs. Parks and Recreation budget includes funds for a new AED, improved pool house access with the control system, and then painting the pool, which is about every 3 to 5 years, roughly. And for the administration department, we're looking at new office chairs for those who haven't had to have them replaced because they've broken, along with new council chamber chairs, which you all are sitting on this evening. This is small, but you can see the year comparison from 2025 to 2026. There was a substantial decrease in budgeted transfers from over $900,000 to just a little over $650,000 in budgeted transfers. Again, I recapped those and where they were going to the CIP fund, Shawnee Indian Mission Fund, Equipment Reserve, and Public Safety Facility Fund. So there you can see our total increase is just under 1/3% from the previous year's expenditure budgets. We will pay just over $847,000 in debt obligation for 2026. I think that number's about $842,000 that we're paying this year, so not a substantial change in debt service. All of the other funds are balanced. The Stormwater Utility Fund continues to pay for bond payments from the 2016 bond reissuance, as well as infrastructure repair and replacement. So you all probably recall that we are starting to replace, strategically replace much of our stormwater infrastructure. That started last year and we continue it this year. And we've talked about in committee, we're on essentially a 7 to 10 year plan to replace almost all of our aging infrastructure within the city of Fairway for stormwater. The tree fund is money that is collected through violations or payments into the Fairway Tree Fund. We never budget revenue for that because we hope nobody violates the ordinance. For 2026, we will use about $9,000 in the tree fund to supplement our planting program that we do every year. The Shawnee Indian Mission Fund is used for operations of the State Historic Site. We receive about $80,000 in contributions from the Shawnee Indian Mission Foundation, and next year's contributions from the city will be about $72,000. The 2014 Sales Tax Fund pays for the pool renovation debt. It was also paying for the Public Works facility purchase and renovation. That was a 10-year project that we have completed that lease purchase and paying for those improvements. So the bond payments have essentially ballooned for the pool renovations since we're no longer paying any debt for the lease payment and renovations of the Public Works facility. We also pay for random capital Parks and Rec projects through there. For example, the playground equipment at Peterson Park was one example that was used for the 2014 sales tax. The Equipment Reserve Fund is just a little over $900,000, but again, a good chunk of that, over $800,000 of it, is part of the city's general fund reserve. It's just parked in the Equipment Reserve Fund as an unbudgeted fund. For 2026 through 2030, we have several capital improvement projects to include street maintenance and cars projects, replacement of vehicles and equipment, and next year in particular, we're spending quite a bit of funds to stabilize the slope at the Public Works facility. Just a couple of stats on where Fairway ranks in terms of mill levy. As the fire chief was mentioning this evening, mill levy is really just the mechanism to help calculate how many dollars we receive in property taxes. But you can see we're the fourth lowest city mill levy rate for cities of the second class, which Fairway is a city of the second class. Sixth lowest overall for first and second class. Fourth lowest overall for cities second class in the state. And we're the sixth lowest mill levy rate of all classes with a population of over 1,000 people. So very low mill levy rate. We're fortunate to have high valuations, which allow us to keep that mill rate low. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions on the draft of the 2026 budget. Just as a reminder, we'll be considering the revenue neutral rate resolution after this. I have to get that notification sent to the county by July 20th. And then from there, at the August Administration and Finance Committee meeting, we will do one final review of the entire budget. And then the council will hold two public hearings at the September City Council meeting, one to exceed the revenue neutral rate and one to adopt the 2026 budget. So that will take place at the September 8th meeting, and then I will get the budget submitted to the county by October 1st. So with that, I am happy to answer any questions.
Nathan, can you send this summary to all of us,
Yes.
please? I think it'll be helpful for each of us to have that.
Sure.
Thank you. All right, from the council, any questions, comments, discussion for Nathan on his presentation for our forum this evening? All right, seeing none, I'll open it for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make public comment concerning the draft of the 2026 budget for the city of Fairway?
If you're on Zoom and would like to make a comment, please use the raise hand feature. Not seeing any. Mayor, we will be uploading this draft document that was placed before all of you this evening. That'll be on our website tomorrow morning.
Okay, great. No hands raised? All right, I'll close public comment. And we'll move on to item D for new business. Consider Resolution 2025G, a resolution of the governing body of the City of Fairway, Kansas, stating the city's intent to exceed its revenue neutral rate establishing the date and time of a public hearing on such matter, and providing for the giving of notice to such public hearing. This is what Nathan was referring to just a few minutes ago that we need to do this evening. We did discuss this in the Committee of the Whole meeting, the Admin and Finance Committee, and the resolution is in your council packet. Nathan, do you have any additional comments? Okay. Council? Any discussion on this item? Kellyanne?
If you ever excuse me, please, I'm having a hot flash. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
that's okay.
I'm like turning red, I'm burning up, even though it's nice and cool in here. It's Kelly Buzek, Ward 1. I applaud and congratulate the department heads for the dedicated and hard work in building their respective zero-based budgets. With these budgets, I realize that it may become necessary to exceed the revenue neutral rate yet again for 2026. I would be willing to support such an action if the budget also included a modest provision to provide some much-needed property tax relief of the Fairway City component for a few dozen neighbors, friends, and fellow citizens who would qualify. I have advocated for such a proposal modeled on the popular and successful similar program in Prairie Village. I will vote for the resolution to establish a date and time for a public hearing to discuss and debate this matter, but I cannot in good conscience support yet again exceeding the revenue neutral rate without a compensating offset provision to help our neighbors in need. I've been consistent in my position over the past few years. My position has been informed in part by feedback from many of my neighbors in Ward 1 who told me the property tax increases represent a financial hardship. I realize and appreciate that some of my fellow council members are philosophically opposed to having homeowners not pay their full share of taxes to support the city services, but I am also philosophically opposed to the prospect of our neighbors having to leave their Fairway homes due to the steadily increasing property tax burden from all taxing authorities. While we cannot control the actions of those other taxing entities, we can do something to mitigate the effects of the Fairway City component of the tax bill. For a few more dollars per year per household, we can provide relief for those who qualify and those who are in need. My sensibilities dictate that this is the ethical and moral thing to do. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. I would entertain a motion concerning a resolution 2025G.
Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution 2025G, which is a resolution of the governing body of the city of Fairway, Kansas, stating the city's intent to exceed its revenue neutral rate and establishing the date and time of a public hearing on such matter and providing for the giving of the notice of such a public hearing.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 2025G. All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Okay, moving on to the governing body comment. During this time, members of the governing body will be given the opportunity to speak about matters related to the city. No formal action will be taken during this time. Anyone have anything they'd like to share with the council tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to item 10, which is public comment for items not listed on the agenda. Anyone in the audience that would like to raise their hand and share your thoughts with us this evening? Anyone, Nathan? Nope. Okay, we'll close public comment, and I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Jerry has moved that we adjourned. We are adjourned. Thank you, council. Appreciate your attention this evening.